families. What do you think of when you think of leading your family in worship? Maybe you think of sitting behind a piano and leading them in song, but what if that's not your thing? I think it's important to expand our idea of what worship is. Worship is anything we do to the glory of God. It can be singing, but it could also be serving others, praying, reading the Bible. Worship can also be doing something you enjoy together as a family and being intentional about praising God during that time. A hike in the woods can be worship when we spend time marveling at the world God has created. Playing a game of soccer can be worship when we thank God for gifting us with the ability to play. Remember the story of Elijah and the prophets who worshipped Baal? Elijah set up an altar and he encouraged the prophets of Baal to ask their gods to light it on fire. And we're told that the prophets cried aloud and cut themselves with swords and lances, and they raved on until the time of the offering. Basically, we're seeing a worship ceremony. The prophets worshipped their false gods. The thing is that we can worship anything. Even those who don't worship God worship something. It could be money, career, family, or any other thing. We are created with hearts that long to worship. Our goal and task as parents is to guide our children to take their hearts and direct their worship toward God. But in order to do that, our kids need to know who God is and what it looks like to worship Him. And that's where we come in. We need to model what it looks like to worship God. This might mean that you occasionally bring your children to church with you for the worship portion, or you become more vocal about the things that you think in your head about who God is. Talk to your kids about how you worship and about the ways you see Him around you. Our kids will worship something, but as parents, we can influence the direction that worship takes. So be intentional about leading your kids to worship God. Think about what makes your heart swell with praise for the Lord and invite your children into that space. Show them what it looks like to praise God and help them to see God's glory all around them.
Thank you, Jenna, for that message. And thank you for joining us for this week's episode of Fridays Are for Families. We place a high value on discipleship, specifically at home, because we believe that strong disciples are made at home. And that is why we have a heart to do what we can to empower and equip you to grow as a disciple of Jesus yourself and the disciple maker of your kid. If you have any specific requests for information you would like to hear about, we invite you to share them with us, either by commenting on this video on YouTube or Facebook, or by emailing us at family@lifeatpathway.com. We look forward to seeing you next week.